So here I am once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today I'm going to try a flight from Melbourne to Sydney. I have tried all the regions. I've flown in Asia, in Middle East, and in US. I've also tried Africa in Explain 11. I had a flight from flight to Madagascar from requested by one of the subscribers. But today I was thinking of doing a flight in Australia. This is one region of the world which I have not tried so far. So we will be exploring Australia in the coming few days, and we will be flying in Australia. So today the flight is from Melbourne to Sydney. Kingsford Smith International, Sydney. So this is the flight that I will be taking. I will not be turning on the actual timings. I will be shutting it down because oops, yeah, no. Sorry, this one. So that's how you do it. Live players, we cannot have live players once you go with the preset. So I will be setting it to roughly during the sunrise. Nice time of the day, sunrise gives a nice color of the sky. Let's select the high altitude airways, but before we do this, just remember, go to the settings, go to the options, go to general, and go to flight model. If you are flying Boeing 787, this option has to be modern, not legacy. Remember this thing, there are two videos on my channel which describe that if you select legacy, you will have issues with the navigation of Boeing 787. So it should be selected to modern. So always select this option once you are flying Boeing 787. Yesterday there was an update in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which was patch 1.8.3.0. And after that there is an issue, rather lots of issues with the Boeing with the Airbus A320 Neo. Hopefully today we don't face any problem with the Boeing 787, because after the patch, after the update, this is for the first time I'm trying Boeing 787. So hopefully we will have no issues. So let's get back to the world map. The flight plan is there. High altitude airways. This enables us to fly at a higher altitude. You can see it's we will be almost at 40,900 Dubus, and we will start the descent before CB. So that's why we select the high altitude airways. There is a complete video on my channel which covers the flight planning basics of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but obviously I will be touching them over here as well. The departure gate, I will be selecting 25. This is known as the heavy gate. Okay, and the SID. Nonix, we will be taking a runway 34 because at Melbourne Airport, there's runway. This is 16 and this is 34. You can see the length of these runways, longer than 9 and 27. This one. So I will be selecting runway 34. That's why we will select Nonix 324. This one. So we will taxi from this gate 25. We will come to runway 34, ask for the clearance, and then we will take off. Take this SID, the standard instrument departure, to catch this flight path and towards Sydney. And in Sydney, we will be landing at runway 34 left. Okay. And for this, let's select the arrival. That's the star. And the arrival will be M-A-R-L-A, Marla, I think. Marlin, I think. If I'm not wrong, 534 left. This is the one. ILS 34 left. Yes. So we will take off, come to this point, and then fly towards Sydney and land over here on runway 34 left. So this is the flight planning part. Flight conditions I've already set to the preset. The time of the day is 5:43 in the morning, not the real times, because I'm right now in Middle East, and at this point in time, it's night in Australia. And I've done, I think, 1 or 2 flights in the night, but today I want to do a flight during the sunrise. Looks nice. Plane is Boeing 787. Everything is looking good so far. No mistake, no issues. Let's hop into the cockpit and take the Boeing 787 on a ride from Melbourne to Sydney. Hopefully we don't have any issues today after the update, because this is for the first time I'm flying the Boeing 787, as I told you before. Last night I tried the A320 and it had issues. And somebody just commented on my videos that there are also issues in the constraints and other navigation instruments of Airbus A320, which I have to try. Maybe today or tomorrow I'll try that, and I will see if we can fix them. But the latest update has ruined the flight experience of A320. Hopefully it gets fixed as soon as possible, or maybe there's a way around. So here we are at Melbourne International Airport. Visibility is 4.21 nautical miles. Time is 5:43 in the morning. And ready to fly. So here is the Boeing 787. Let's look at the gate. It says it's heavy gate. How heavy it is. There are no lights. But soon the sun is rising. So during sunrise. Okay. Let's open up the engine startup procedures. I'll just follow this checklist so that we don't make any mistake. Turn on the batteries. The batteries are on. Just turn on the switch. Overhead panel. Just, you see, you can adjust the brightness with this. If you want, you can also turn on the dome light. Okay, so okay, I've turned on the AI. So, with the initial communication with the tower, you can see that we have to take off from runway 34 and climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Frequency is 118.9 for the departure, and the squawk is 1137. This is the frequency we will be tuning into once. Okay, let me acknowledge that. Thank you very much. Okay, so tower is all done, and let's also turn on this light. Okay. So the cockpit is bright now. Oh wow, this issue is fixed. Before this update, when the lights were turned on of the cockpit, this panel, these lights were not on, and I always looked out for the solution how to turn it on, and there was no solution. But I think with this update, this issue is fixed. You cannot do anything on this screen. Okay. So let's open up the screen, and let's go for the external power and ground services. Request fuel supply. So we have asked for the fuel, and let's go for the power supply. Let's go with the jetway connection because we want passengers to be in the plane. This is the jetway. Okay, so you can see now. With the latest update, this graphics are now smooth. No issue. Let's ask for the baggage service and then for the catering service, because obviously you need the baggage in the plane. So the jetway is connected. Catering service, and here it is. Everything is done. Can we see a fuel truck coming in? Yes, this is the fuel truck. Fuel truck is moving. It's moving very slow. It's moving really slow. Okay, so this is the initial procedure. This is how you handle the ground procedures with the startup procedures. You don't turn on your APU generators and APU selector till the time jetway is connected to the plane. Once the jetway is disconnected, then you switch from the external power to the APU selector, and then you go on with the procedures. And once the plane is pushed back and it's clear from this area of the airport, then you turn on the engines, because obviously there are human beings walking around over here on the tarmac, and somebody can just get hurt because of the engine. So you don't turn on the engines, you just only turn on the APU, and then once the pushback finishes, then you turn on the engines and turn off the APU. So this is it. The baggage is getting loaded. Here is the catering truck, and I think the fuel truck is not in the mood of refueling the plane. If this fuel truck is working properly over here in this area, then you will see the fuel screen popping up on your screen. But right now, I think it's going to take ages. So as soon as the baggage is loaded, we will just proceed with the procedures, and we will disconnect the jetway and everything. And I'm no longer interested. Oh, finally, the fuel truck has decided to go fast. So I think it will stop somewhere here. With the external power unit, van, it gets connected with the plane. You can see a wire getting connected. I think, yes, this is the wire. You can see it over here. But the fuel truck doesn't get connected with the plane. You cannot see it getting connected. Let's close this window. Can we see anything? Because the fuel is connected to the wing of the plane, and this is where the plane gets refueled. I have a video. Maybe I'll just show you how it happens. Okay. Due to my office, I get a very less time to spend in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So see, you have got the screen over here. Once you call for the fuel comes up. It's okay. It's a short flight of 1 hour, 20 minutes. So that's why we will not be changing the fuel settings. The payload is good. Pilot weighs 170 pounds. I think I'm a bit heavier. But this is a flight simulator. Don't worry about that. Luggage is good. Okay, so now we're going to just check this issue. But if you want to change the settings of the fuel, you can. You can see the fuel truck getting connected to the wing. So this is looking good. So I think the fueling is done. The fuel truck is going back. Let's hop into the cockpit again, and let's see. Turn off this warning, because this warning is regarding the door. When the door opens, you can see this warning. Okay, this is the clearance, and let's see. You can see the baggage is now done, the catering is now done, the fuel supply is done, everything is done. We just have to turn on the APU, and then we will disconnect the power supply. So let's get this checklist back on the screen, and let's go to the APU selector, start, and then on. And that's it. APU generator switches. Here are these switches on. Oops, I turned it off. So to turn on. Okay, now the fuel pumps. Here are the fuel pumps. Let's turn them on. And the beacon is here, so turn it on. That's it. So once you have done that, in Airbus A320, you have to cut off the external power, but over here in the Boeing 787, there is no option in the checklist, so we will not touch that option. But we will end the power supply because the APU is now up and running. And let's request jetway connection. Okay, so the jetway is now disconnected. Okay. I think the APU is off. If I'm not, I cannot hear anything. Okay, let's. This is on. I don't know. A few things are not working properly. Okay, so let's release the parking brakes. Where is the parking brake? Yeah, I see. Yeah, here's the parking brake. Let's release the parking brake and let's request for the pushback. Where is the runway? Request for pushback. So we'll push back to the right because here is the taxiway and we will be going this way and then flying back. So we turn right. Let's see if the pushback van is coming. Yep, the tug is there. The ground services for Microsoft Flight Simulator are good. You really enjoy, you get the real feel. Okay, so now the pushback has started, and as I told you before, we will be turning right. Let's bring the checklist and let's start the engines. Thrust lever to set to idle. So on my stick, it's also set to idle. Right engine start. Check. Turn on the switch. Check. I guess the engine should be here. Yeah, now the engine is, and let's repeat the same procedure for engine 2. Sorry, engine 1. I'm also struggling with the camera views. It's not okay. Let's select that, and where's the engine selector? Here. Start, and let's start this option. So the engine 2 pushback stop. You have to ask for the pushback stop. Let's see where the plane is. It keeps on. Finally, it has just stopped. This thing happens every time. Okay, no worries. So what I'll do is this now. I will give the radio communication to AI because initially during the startup, if you just keep this option on, the plane automatically starts the pushback and it stops. It doesn't steer left or right. There's an issue. I don't know. So many things to be fixed in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I'm just struggling with everything. Let's look at this screen and see whether it's stabilized or not. The engine is stabilized. We have to wait for the engines to stabilize. 384. So we will also wait. Let's go and check if the engines are up and running. They are. So engine 1 and engine 2 both are running. Let's get back. 384 stabilize. Repeat the procedure. Okay, so stable. Okay. So now everything is good, and let's bring up the checklist. And okay, first of all, let's put the plane in the parking brakes and let's check these items. After the engine, APU selector, turn this to off and turn on the lights. So here are the lights. Let's turn on all the lights. Turn on left landing lights, turn on nose landing lights, then okay, so all the lights are on now. Everything is looking good so far, and I think we also have the clearance. Taxi holding short on 3. Okay, fine. We have this clearance, so we don't need this. Heads up display is down. Okay, so let's taxi now. We'll just go from here. Take this taxiway straight to runway. Okay. Let's release the parking brakes. I have to follow this yellow line for the taxi. flaps. Let's extend the flaps by 3 notches. Set the flaps to 15. Here you are. Set the flaps to 15. Everything is good so far. Just keep on following this yellow line out of the parking and straight to the runway. Your speed should not be more than 20 knots. I think after this patch, the handling of Boeing 787 has increased. Yes. Oh wow, this has improved. Initially there was an issue, while taxing. There's some other plane also going. So beautiful sunrise. I've got, I think, maybe one or two videos of the sunrise from the real plane. I was flying Etihad from Islamabad to Abu Dhabi on my way to Riyadh, Saudi Arab, and amazing views. My camera was not really good. I was using GoPro. I couldn't capture the light properly, but still it was good. I think also used my Canon M50. No, at that time I had Canon D200, and I didn't have a lens with a 1.8 f-stop, so it was not captured nicely. But I'll try to post the link if you just want to go and see. It's a very nice view during the mornings. Okay, climb and maintain. Did they tell us what altitude we should be at after the takeoff? Singapore, baggage, 6,000 feet. So altitude, let's set the altitude to 6,000. Don't tell me. This option is not working. Don't tell me. You can just only reduce the altitude with the hundreds units, not with the thousands. Can I do that? No. Another issue identified. Set altitude selection increments to 100 to auto. Now you can do that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so there is, I think, a slight change in the update. So now it's press it again and then 5,000. Okay. And what if I do this? Then it's okay. Okay. So now it's working. Yeah. Okay. So it's good. Set the speed to 240 knots because below 10,000 feet we should be less than 250. It should not exceed 250 knots. So as a precaution, I keep it at 240, and that's good. There is some traffic on the runway. Let's go out. Beautiful sunrise. It's foggy. Okay. This plane is waiting for the clearance. Just hold short of runway 34 and then we will ask for the clearance. As the autopilot is set to AI, so the autopilot would automatically ask sorry, the radio communication is set to auto AI. So the co-pilot will ask for the clearance, so we don't have to worry about that. This is the best thing about Boeing 787. You can see it over here, the navigation display, the diagram of the airport, which really helps you in navigating through the taxiways to the runway. And that's why, due to the lack of assistance for the taxi, I never used the taxi option in X-Plane 11. I've been always flying out straight away from the runway. If I knew the airport, then I knew how to taxi through the taxiways. But because it's kind of complex, you should know where you're going. They are taxiways, they have numbers and they have alphabets, and you just simply have to follow them. But over here in Microsoft Flight Simulator with the Boeing 787, it's really good. Okay, so now we're going to hold short of the runway. The taxi handling of Boeing 787 has improved with this new update. So let's hold short of the runway. Turn on the parking brakes. Okay. No, the traffic coming in. Let's reduce the throttle. Yes, the taxi handling has improved for Boeing 787. Otherwise, it was very difficult to control this plane during the taxi. So we are cleared for the takeoff. Let's take off. I've also to check the performance during the takeoff because the plane lifts up itself. And I think it's happening again, yes. See, no controls. You look at the yoke, it's anyhow. Just raise the gears as the rate of climb is positive. And above 1,500 feet, we will reduce the thrust. Right now, the thrust is almost at 100%. 12, 13, 14. Let's reduce the thrust at 1,500 feet. Let's turn on the autopilot. Flaps, they have to go up because we are, overspeed error was coming. It should go. So the flaps are back to 40 and the LNAV option on. So everything is good. So right after the takeoff, we turn on the autopilot. Auto thrust is automatically on. Turn on the flight director. This one I forgot to turn on. The altitude was already set to 6,000 and the speed was at 240 knots. Above 10,000 feet, we will change the speed to 320 knots. Turn on this LNAV option, which is for the longitudinal navigation. This enables the plane and the autopilot to follow the flight path correctly. So we turn on this option and then they set the vertical speed to turn vertical speed mode on. This is on. Okay. Now this is on. Set it to 3,000 rate of climb. This is basically the rate of climb. This is 3,000 feet per minute. 190. So 19,000 feet. Go to 19,000 feet. Okay. So above 10,000 feet, I will increase the speed. Time to turn off the lights. We don't need the lights. Taxi lights. And turn off. The strobe should be on. The beacon and other nav lights should be on. Okay. So everything is good so far. Let's check the navigation display. And here's the flight path. Okay, we have to. This is one thing. It should automatically adjust it. Okay, anyhow. I'll keep it at 4,000. It means that the plane will climb 4,000 feet per minute. So this is the climb rate. Okay, so we are at 7,000 feet, 7,100 for 19,000 feet. Turning right. Let's go out. Oh my god, this is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. A Microsoft Flight Simulator. Get the real feel. Beautiful sunrise. And don't worry about this if you're flying this route. You've selected the exact route. The plane will skip this waypoint. It will not go to this waypoint. Rather, it will fly towards this waypoint. So there is a handoff going on right now. Acknowledge handoff. So contact Melbourne Center. I want to 4.0. Contact Melbourne Center. Okay, so okay, so now above 10,000 feet, let's increase the speed to 320 knots. Vertical speed. This mode is on. The plane will, or the autopilot will automatically adjust the vertical speed in such a way that the plane increases the speed, and once the speed is there, then the vertical speed will also be selected. But right now, with the given thrust and the throttle settings, the plane is climbing at 4,000 feet, and still the speed is increasing, so everything is looking good. You actually, while during the climb, you have to actually manage the speed and the vertical speed in such a way that the speed is also stable, the plane is climbing. If you turn on the VNAV option, the autopilot does it automatically, the vertical speed and the speed, but I just don't use this option. Few days back, I was doing a video. I was flying from Heathrow through Frankfurt, and there was a turn. There were two turns. The autopilot took those turns at 320 knots, and the radius became larger because if you were taking a turn at a high speed, the turn radius increases. And I missed those two waypoints and just went out of the flight path, and then I had to reduce the speed and come back. So I refrained from using VNAV. I just manually manage the speeds. Hopefully this issue is also solved in the coming few days. Because this is the MCDU, this is, or rather, which controls the FMS of the flight management system of the plane. So in the MCDU, you select all these options and everything, the speeds. So, excuse me. So once you turn on the VNAV option, the plane actually follows, or the autopilot follows these altitudes and these speeds. So it should not be more than 310 knots at 41,000 feet, and so on and so forth. But I think there's some issue right now. Maybe it's solved over a period of time. 18,400. In the morning, I refrained from using the heads-up display because we cannot adjust the brightness. Let's see with this update, can we adjust the brightness of the heads-up display? This is decrease, lower center display. No, the heads-up. This is the left heads-up display brightness. You cannot change the brightness. So as soon as the sun is fully up, you will stop seeing that. Let's see where the sun is and look at this view. You don't get this view from your room. Only in Microsoft Flight Simulator. A beautiful view. I think we have to climb. What's the altitude? Set the flight level 2,500. Let's increase the altitude. 2,500. Turn on this option and climb rate should be 4,000. I keep it at 4,000 because the plane will easily climb. Okay. Beautiful sunrise over Australia. It's cloudy. If you press this option, turn on weather radar info, you can see the clouds. Green is light clouds and yellow is heavy clouds. Yeah, you can see. Okay. Beautiful sunrise. Flying towards east. Okay. Now you can see as you'll get more white colors in your background or as compared to if you talk about the plane over here. In the flight simulator, when you have clouds and the sun is bright, eventually the heads-up display will not be visible clearly because we cannot adjust the brightness. So I will be turning off the heads-up display right now so far, but everything is looking good so far. The gears are up, the flaps are up. We are at 24,000 feet. The speed is good. It's managed. Everything is good. Do we have another? Melbourne Centre continued MS. Okay. So the last altitude was 2,500. I have to go to 350. Actually, this selling happened for the third time. 3,500. To make this one on, press it twice, and then adjust the vertical speed again at 4,000. Okay, so yes, it's good. If the speed is reducing, you can reduce your vertical speed because then the plane might stall at a very high vertical speed. Right now you can see that with 4,000 feet per minute climb rate, the speed is slightly lower than the limit that we have set. So it means the climb is very steep. So we have to reduce the vertical speed. Let's keep it at 3,000. And then you can see the speed is increasing. So this is how you manage your vertical speed with the speed so that the plane maintains the speed and still climbs. You can see now the speed is increasing. So this is how you manage your vertical speed with the speed. Yeah. Okay. Now it's time to turn off the heads-up display. We don't want this heads-up display. Otherwise, it looks good in the night flight. Especially when I'm flying Boeing 787, I do the night flights because I really like this heads-up display. It gives a very high-tech feeling to the plane. Okay. Following the flight path, turning left, moving towards the waypoint is Waza. Waza, we are coming. It's 45 nautical miles away. I will start my descent at after Dubus. We will start the descent because here is Sydney, the final approach, and this is Dubus and this is Sebi. Few days back, it happened to me that I was just flying and waiting for the tower to give me when the time went to descend because the top of descent is not properly shown over here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've been actually figuring out that one as well, but I've been relying totally on the communication from the tower. So they asked me, the tower asked me to descend from 41,000 feet after CB to this runway, and I couldn't make it. I had to manually do that. I finally landed the plane, and then I realized that due to this aggressive descent, I forgot to lower the gears. So yeah, you can see it on your screens. I think I'll show you the video as well. So that's why I do the descent manually over here in this flight plan. After do bus, I just start my descent. The tower will give me errors, but I will just ignore them. But after CB, this issue will be solved. So if you're flying from Melbourne to Sydney, don't listen to the tower. Start your descent after do bus, and everything will be good. You can perform a proper ILS, approach, and landing. So the plane will now level off at 35,000 feet. The last instruction I think will get to climb to flight level 410. Let's wait for that. Oh, and remember one thing. Above 30,000 feet, the speed changes to Mach. You press this option. You don't set your speed to knots. You set your speed to Mach. So every time you're above 30,000 feet, set your speed to Mach. Remember this thing. Okay, so flight level 410. This is the last instruction that we've got to increase on. Let's. And this barometric pressure should be standard. So just STD. Above 30,000 feet. There are transition altitudes where you actually change it, but over here you can just above 30,000 feet just change it to standard, because then it matches with the tower. The tower doesn't give you an error. If you don't switch it to standard, and if you just keep it like this, you will keep on hearing errors from the tower that your altitude is not right. Actually, setting up the barometric pressure helps the autopilot and helps the flight management system to calculate the altitude of the plane. If the barometric settings, pressure settings in the plane is not correct, your altitude will not be properly displayed and you'll have issues. This is the basic. If you want to study further, you can always Google that, but just for the basics. So I've set it to standard so that I don't hear any issues from the tower. So with the latest update, Boeing 787 is doing well. Initially, A320neo was having no issues. It was flying perfectly. Whereas 787 had issues, which can be fixed and which are fixed now. And especially this panel, it didn't have lights if you were manually turning on the plane, manually doing the startup procedures. But if you were starting direct from the runway, then this panel was lit up. But with the latest update, this issue is solved. There's no navigation issue. Everything is working fine. We're climbing to 41,000 feet. The speed is at Mach, getting adjusted. Just to tell you why we changed the speed to Mach. Okay, if you remember, we set the speed to 320. If we don't change the speed to Mach, the higher we go, the thinner the air is, and the plane will accelerate and will go fast. And you will see errors. So if you just keep it there without Mach, your speed will be at 320 and you will be hearing what you say, the overspeed issues. The advantage of setting the speed to Mach is this, that as soon as you go higher in the altitude, the speed limit reduces and the plane automatically sets the speed according to that speed limit. So initially you can see that in IS I have set it to, I cannot change it. Okay. So now the plane is leveling off, the speed is getting reduced. It's roughly at 275 or 270 knots, slightly higher than 270, maybe 272, 73. But that's the beauty of the Mach. And once we descend below 30,000 feet, we will again change it back to IS from Mach, and then you can adjust your speed as in knots. So this is the basic, and everything is looking good. We are at 41,000 feet. Above the clouds, the sun is up and shining. Let's see the heads-up display. Because now the background is blue, we can see it. So let's keep it there. But I wish I can just increase the brightness, because this heads-up display is really good. I just really like it. You don't have to look down. You just simply have to look up. And especially it's very helpful while you're landing. You can know your speed, you can know your altitude, your vertical speed and everything. So it's good. So let's keep the heads-up display over here. And what if I do this? See, this is the issue. So once the background is white, then It's very difficult to read heads-up display, but if it's like this, then it's good. Okay. We're flying. So Dubus is coming. Dubus is 64 knots away. 63.5, 33.4. As we get talking, the distance is reducing. So we will here start the descent. And I will descend to 4,000 feet. Let's go. Press this option, legs. Okay. I press this option, next page. Okay. You can see that over here in the legs, basically the flight path, this is runway 34 left. And before the 34 left, there is a waypoint that's known as ATRET, A-T-R-E-T. And the FMS shows that you should be at 4,000 feet. So this is the point from where you will be catching the glide slope. So once you start your descent, you will descend up to 4,000 feet. So that's the main thing. So this is how you select that at which waypoint you will descend, to which altitude you will descend before the runway. So legs, check the runway. This is runway 34 left, and any waypoint just before the runway, just select that altitude for descent. That's very simple. Let's get here to this communication panel. You can press nav and you can see the ILS frequency. That's 110.10 for Sydney Airport, and the course is 348. Let's set the course because we will be landing shortly. So let's set the course to 348. 348. Okay. Adjusting the course. Why we adjust the course before landing? Because let's say in case of a missed approach, there is this video on my channel which you can just go and watch regarding the missed approach. You set this heading because if you miss the approach, you straight away fly out of the runway by increasing the throttle, and you set once you turn on your autopilot, you fly towards this heading, the straight heading, just right out of the runway, so that you are out of the danger, out of the runway. You're not distracting any traffic, you're not causing any blockage. And once you're flying out on this heading, then the tower tells you another heading to turn around and perform a go around. I've covered one video on my channel which you could just go and watch. So that's where you set this heading. And for the landing, what you do is this: before landing, you turn off your LNAV option, and then you fly on heading mode once you align with the runway. So once you are straight aligned with the runway, then you set this heading, and once you are just near the ILS frequency range, then you set it to autopilot approach option. You will see I will be performing these options while I'm near the runway. So this is the basic. But in Explain 11, what I observed was this option worked really well. So I was flying the whole flight on LNAV, and once I was near the runway, I could see the runway, I was aligned with the runway. I used to press this option heading, and the plane used to straight fly in that direction and used to align itself with the runway. And as soon as I pressed the approach button, once we were within the ILS frequency range, the plane started to descend automatically towards the runway. This is what you'll be seeing in the coming few moments. Over here in this Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's slightly different. I've tried this heading option. The plane doesn't horizontally align itself with the runway, but this button aligns the plane with the runway. The horizontally and plus like you're just in line of sight of the runway, and plus the plane automatically starts to descend towards the runway once you press this approach button. Once we are near the runway, you will see all these things in action, but just to tell you the basics why we do this. I'm also very new to the flight simulators. It's been hardly 2 years, or more than, I think 2.5 years. I'm doing these videos and I'm flying planes. Every day I'm also learning new things, and obviously I'm always searching for some good information over the internet so that I can just learn few things and come and share with you guys, and I also try it at my own. But hopefully you guys like my videos. And just turn off these lights, we don't need them. Turn on the dome light, increase, no, we don't need this. It's already daylight, we don't need this. Okay, the cockpit is nice, spacious, you can see this room. Nice view. I've not seen the Boeing 787 cockpit. I've just only seen two cockpits: 737 300 series and 777 300. Two Boeings throughout my life. But I really like the Airbus A350s interior, and plus the Boeing 787. Obviously, they're the latest planes, the latest technology. Designs are good. Seats are comfortable. Look and feel is really good. So Dubus is approaching and 20 miles away, nautical miles. Over here you can also see speed, LNAV and altitude. If they're green, it means they're automatically managed by the autopilot. So speed is controlled by autopilot, the LNAV is controlled by autopilot, and altitude is set by autopilot. So it's good. So Dubus is coming. We'll not change the speed, but we'll just start the descent. You will keep on hearing these errors from the tower. Let's turn this off. I'll tell you a trick. Because if you manage your radio comms through AI control, you'll keep on hearing the error again and again and again and again that you're below the given altitude. You're below the given altitude because we should be at 41,000, but we will be descending. And if this AI option is on, you will keep on hearing this error. If this AI option is not on and I don't acknowledge that, the IFR plan will be cancelled. And as soon as we cross CB, then we will turn it on and we will manage radio comms with AI control. You can see how I manage that. So this is one trick that I've learned in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Communication with the tower is good. Yeah, it gives you a good feel, the real feel, but at times it's slightly annoying and maybe misleads you. So here is Dubus. .4 nautical miles away. So here we are. We have crossed Dubus. Let's start the descent. Let's set the altitude to 4,000 feet. As I told you before, why I'm selecting 4,000 feet. So we will descend at this point. We will start, turn on, and I will just only keep the descent rate at 1,800 feet per minute. Initially, the descent rate will be slow, and then we will be increasing the descent rate till the time we are at 4,000, because we have to manage the speed as well. If you're descending at a very high rate, the speed will keep on increasing, and you need flaps and then the spoilers to control your speed. You will be seeing all these things in action in the coming few moments. Yes, now you can see these errors have started coming up, so I will ignore it. Request next waypoint, acknowledge. I will not do anything. So they will ask me to acknowledge, and I think at one point in time they will get annoyed, and the people in the tower, by they I mean the people in the tower, and finally they will cancel the IFR. So that's it. I will not. Let's mess up with them. Okay. Nice and cloudy. So we're descending through the clouds. Wow. Let's see. What is the situation of the clouds near Sydney? So there are some red clouds. I think there's some storm building up. Oops. There will be some clouds. We will be descending through the clouds. There are some videos on my channel in which I've shown, how the plane is descending through the clouds. It's a beautiful feeling. Once you're flying through the clouds, it's very nice. This video is one of the videos from Islamabad, one of the videos landing in Abu Dhabi. It was cloudy. Yes, just like this. You could see the clouds, and the plane was just like descending through the clouds. I was flying on 777 by Etihad Airways. This was an early morning flight from Riyadh to Abu Dhabi. I'll try to also replicate the real life flights, the videos that I've made on my channel in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm so grateful to you. You have cancelled my IFR flight plan, and thank you. So nice of you. So now the video comm is off, and they will not mislead me with telling me went to descend. It has happened to me before, and I was not really happy. So we are at 36,000 feet. The plane will keep on descending. What I've observed is during the flights, obviously, this I think you guys will also agree with me that near the runway, if you are above the given altitude, it's an issue. If you're below, it's not an issue. Because if you're above and if you try to reduce the altitude, the plane will gain speed, and it will get very difficult for you to control the descent rate and plus control the speed. But if you are at a lower altitude, it doesn't make any difference. You can just keep on flying on that altitude, and then you can land easily. So staying below the given altitude, it's easy to manage. Staying above the given altitude, it's an issue. Let's set the vertical speed to 1500. We have a lot of time. We have just started a slow descent. The speed is reducing. Oops, sorry. That's the issue. Let's keep it at during the descent. The speed should not be more than 300 because then it's easy to control the speed once you are near the runway. So I'm descending at a lower speed and switch to knots units once we are below 30,000. Trim is slightly set towards down. 30,000 feet. It's not set to standard. I don't care. But before the runway, once the tower tells us the barometric pressure, then we will be setting in the barometric pressure so that the altitude is set and we don't get any. The speed keeps on. Let me adjust the speed. Let's set it to 280 because now we are below 30,000 feet. We can set it to 280. Let's set it to 280. Oh, that's the issue. We cannot select the knots. Why? It's always in Mach. So I think this is another issue after the update that in Boeing 787 you cannot see the knots. But initially we could. Below 30,000 feet. We are below 30,000. It should show us the knots. Climb down. What is this option? Climb. I don't know. The auto throttle is on. Speed is now the speed is high. Initially the speed was low. Now the speed is high. Let's select the vertical speed. Let's set it to 1200. Let's see if the speed is reducing. Yes, the speed is reducing. It should stabilize at 280. You can see the moment I decrease the descent rate, the speed has started to decrease because now the plane is slightly up. No, the speed is again decreasing. It should stabilize at 280. I don't know. And just ignore that for the time being. 26,300 feet. We are at CV. I think I will turn on the radio communication somewhere here after this point. 26,000 feet. At CB, what should be the altitude? It should be it should be 23,000. Okay, I'm just being careful because this thing has happened with me before, so I'm just being careful. You just reduce the vertical speed. We'll just keep it at 1,000 so that we have time to descend. And let's wait for the plane to descend. Okay, now we are at 19,000 feet. The speed is reducing. I don't know why the speed is reducing. You have to... I think this is because of this issue. It should show knots. Anyhow, there's always a way around. So many clouds getting red. We are closing to WOL, the next waypoint at 18,000 feet. Let's reduce the descent speed. Let's keep it at 500 feet per minute because we have some distance to cover, so no need to worry about that. Speed I've set to 310 knots, as I cannot see it here. 310 can be changed. Okay, so one of the issues, but it's solved. 310 knots, 18,000 feet. The descent rate is, can we see the descent rate? No, we cannot. Okay. Some heavy clouds. We're 18,000 feet. Still, we haven't gone through the clouds. There's this gap. I really wanted to descend through the clouds. Okay. What I've noticed is this, that if the speed is reducing and you click this button 2 or 3 times, maybe the speed gets corrected. So that's one of the solutions that you can come up with if you're having this issue. Some nice heavy clouds. You can see it's all getting red. I'll enjoy this light, I think. Not so much wind from 269 degrees, only 3 knots. Not so much heavy wind, not so turbulent. Okay, so after all, what if I turn on the communication? Let's see what happens. So simply turn on the communication and so we have established the radio communication. Altimeter is 3.3 30.33. As you can see, I'm adjusting the barometric pressure over here. 30.33. You can see the altimeter is getting adjusted. So that's the issue. Now it's not asking me to be at flight level 270. That's 27,000 feet. It gets difficult. I've tried this before, and there's a very steep descent. Then I don't want to take a risk in this video because my time is really precious. I have to head to the gym after this video. 30 minutes left for my gym. So we'll just keep on going down. Maybe we can reduce the speed a bit. Doesn't make a difference. Still the plane is descending, and after vol I just really want to land the plane. Not so much distance to cover. We are close to. Nice and cloudy. I'm just really happy. No, I'm not taking that risk. Now you can see it suddenly dropped. Initially it said 2,270, that's 27,000. Then it said the tower said 17,000 feet. And descend and maintain 9,000. So quickly. So this is, I think, an issue with this thing. And it just quickly. Yes. So after vol, so you just remember, if you were flying at 41,000 feet, suddenly at this waypoint at vol, suddenly the tower asks you to drop your altitude. There was a slight. It just paused for a moment. I think some issue with the graphics getting loaded, but I think it's fine. I'm really happy with the new update. The jerks are gone in the graphics. They're very smooth. The FPS have increased. So you get to enjoy the scenery and the flight. Okay, so as I was telling you before, so just immediately after this point, you have to descend at a very high rate from 41,000 feet to 27,000 feet, 14,000 feet, 9,000 feet, and then 4,000 feet at the end. And trust me, if you are at 41,000 feet at this point, you will not make it to the runway. I've tried it before. I've shown you before. So just be careful, and the rest will be good. Okay, request vector to next waypoint. I'm expediting. Don't worry about that. Okay, it's time to reduce the speed. Let's keep it at 280. That's the issue. Let's keep it at 280. It's 280. And let's keep it at 1800. So we are good. We are 14,000 feet right now. And somewhere around, I think, we should be at 4,000, 10,000 feet to go. The speed is 280. I want to really control my speed. Once we are below 10,000 feet, I will reduce the speed to 240 knots and try to extend the flaps. Okay. Just really love the graphics. It's smooth. Yeah. Very smooth. Nice. Some heavy clouds. Let's reduce the speed. I set the speed to 280. The gain went to 290. one of the issues. Today or maybe tomorrow, I'll also try to do a video on A320. I've done this video where we're having issues with the startup procedures. The engine one is shutting down as soon as you're trying to taxi. And I've also got few comments on that video that there's an issue with the constraints and plus with the autopilot. I'll try to do that. I'll try to fly again from Melbourne to Sydney or maybe Sydney to Melbourne to see if we face this issue. So we are near the airport. Let's increase to 2,500. Let's be careful. So we are now below 10,000 feet. Let's further reduce the speed. Let's keep it at. This is a mess. I'm not really happy with this. 260. I just apply the speed brakes or maybe the spoilers just to reduce the speed. One way to reduce the speed, apply the spoilers. 8,000 feet, 4,000 feet to go. These are the ILS indicators, these diamonds, as soon as you are near the runway, because of the ILS information entered into the communication system. You see these diamonds. Okay, so the speed is not reduced. We can release the spoilers. Spoilers. The spoilers. The spoilers is reduce the plane speed. It's kind of a airspeed brake. Wow, some nice views of the plane. Beautiful. Now we are going through the clouds. Aren't we supposed to turn left? What's happening? Which waypoint this plane is heading to? Swtich, where is this? Yes, it has just passed the waypoint. Let's set the heading. I will now move from this option to this option. I will select the heading. We'll fly on the heading. Will not. Why I can't see it? ND on. Don't tell me my whole flight is like ruined. I can see it here now. I will be setting the heading manually towards the runway. The plane is descending itself. It should level off at 4,000. It should level off at 4,000. The speed is not reducing. So I just turned on the LNAV option. I don't know why. From where these waypoints have just sprung up on the screen. Everything was going good so far. And a very nice flight is now ruined. But we can land, still we can land because we can see where the runway is. I can select the heading. No need to worry about that. I'm going to land this plane today. This diamond shows that we are way below the given glide slope. So it's fine. If we were up, if this diamond was below, it means we were high. So this was an issue. So let's select the heading. You see this this dotted line? It should be aligned with this. So this is 348. We know this is 348. So what if I set it to 348? Or maybe we can just like try to intercept this line and then we will align ourselves with the runway. The speed is again getting reduced. I set the speed to 250. Quite interesting. So this is, I think, an issue after the update. Anyhow. Going through the clouds. Oh, wow. If you tune into ATIS, will they tell us the visibility? If you tune into ATIS, it gives you the weather updates. So this frequency is for the weather updates. It's not working. Okay. So it's windy. We have tailwinds at 12 knots. You can see the heading is now with the runway. We are aligned with the runway. Moving towards the runway at 4,000 feet. Visibility is low because of the clouds. It's windy. As soon as this diamond is over here, I will hit the APP so that we are aligned with the runway. We are at the glide slope, and the plane is like aligned with the runway, the center line. And plus, as soon as I'll hit the APP, the plane will start to descend. Let's reduce the speed. Time for flaps. And let's hit APP. Okay, now you can see the plane is aligning itself with the center line of the runway, and plus it has started to descend towards the runway. It's not descending. I will manually do that. I'll set it to 1000. I think I have to take the matters into my own hand. I think this is another issue. Is APP not working? I'll just engage the speed brakes because we are why this thing is happening. As soon as I turn the APP option on, you can see the plane is, oh my god, this is not right. The plane has gone off course. You can see the plane has gone totally off course. So I think there is an issue. We are overspeeding, that's why. I'll set the altitude to, let's say, 2000. The plane will level off at 2000. Full flaps. You can see the spoilers were in action. Let's head back to this option and let's reduce the speed. Okay. So some issues. So we should not go below 140. The plane is not turning. I think why this thing happened. Every time you turn on the APP, the plane follows the heading. What we can do right now? Nothing else. At 2000 feet, turning back towards the runway. No, you should turn back to the runway. Can we see the runway? Sorry. I have to. Let's intercept this line like this. This is the runway 34 left. I'll intercept this line, and the The moment we are here, we'll just turn right. It was a nice flight. Few of the things just ruined up the whole stuff. But now I think with this video you can also see that if you are having issues, how you can just gain control of the plane and take things into your own hand and try to land the plane. As soon as I'm here, I will try to align myself with runway. Let's further reduce the speed and should not be below 140. Okay, that's good. And now let's turn. Since Microsoft Flight Simulator has come into my life has gone really colorful. All day long, I'm just fighting with this flight simulator, and let's lower the gears. Oh, sorry, gears. This is the runway. This is where we should be at right now. Let's descend the plane to. Let's start the descent. 700 feet. Where are the gears? The gears are down. Is the plane descending? The plane should descend. I have somehow managed. There was another plane coming in. Okay, let's disengage the autopilot. Let's disengage the auto throttle. Let's reduce the throttle on the stick. I'm using Logitech Creative 3D. This is one dangerous flight. You shouldn't be boarding. Okay, so this is the test of my skills. Hopefully these issues are resolved in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Boeing 787 go around. Oh, and here is the crash. Thank you very much for staying with me. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it to the runway because of a few issues that were happening in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think after the update, there are some issues, and hopefully they will be resolved. I will try to fly this route again, and we'll try to do some video. Thank you very much for staying with me. If you have any questions, do let me know, and I will be really glad to answer those questions. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.